We start with the Bruins, who get absolutely destroyed by the Hurricanes 8-2. You heard Ryan Johnson in the final call last night. This feels like the Bruins might be bottoming out.
That's pretty bad considering like Football Friday, Finish Strong Friday. We usually start with the game this week, who they got. Now we're leading with Bruins.
No, this cannot be ignored.
They get punched in the mouth last night, and this isn't even Thanksgiving. It's November 1st. And, the litmus test usually towards the end of the month, see where you're at, where you stack up against all these teams, how you sitting in the Atlantic, all that stuff. This is not a good time right now for them. And heads will roll for it. And it's sad. It's sad because the guys won a lot of games, meaning Montgomery, and I think that's really where we're heading here, right? Montgomery watches on now. Because have you lost the team? What happened last week with Toronto? I thought they got the team back. I thought that was your get-right game.
No, I don't think that's happened.
Okay,
for them.
so
no. I don't think they've had that
response.
getting right response.
You know the pro Bruins stuff written that day, and if everybody covers the team, oh, okay, great response. One day, less than one day, one game. Here we are, 8-2.
Well, last night when the Bruins gave up their third power play goal in the game, it was the third time that they have done that in a game this season. And Ty Anderson had this tweet that just sums up this thing, which you say about the Bruins, like, oh, the Bruins, they can always kill penalties, right? Like, historically, part of, like, the being the Bruins program, if you will, right? Things that have spanned over multiple head coaches, you say they're a team that can kill penalties.
They'll kill it off more than score on the power play.
They will kill off penalties. Ty Anderson had this stat that just sums it up, and I'm not even surprised. It's a mind-blowing stat, but it doesn't surprise me to read this. He says, for some additional context here, they've now done this 3 times in 11 games this season. The Bruins had allowed 3 power play goals in a single time. 3 times in the previous 437 games. 3 times in the previous 437, and now 3 times in 11 games. If you want to know how bad this team has been.
Just rereading these tweets to make it stick. Wow.
Last night, post-game, as I watched what some of the players were saying, they were saying that Jim Montgomery is trying to get them going, right? They admit this. They are trying, I don't know why saying that, maybe trying to take something off of Jim Montgomery, because they're talking about themselves, saying, our coach is trying to get him going. It's pretty clear that the coach is not going to last. No. I mean, we've been talking about that for days, and I thought after the game last night that he had a comment that sounds detached from reality. Here's Jim Montgomery talking about where they are now, how badly they were beaten last night, and what it means for them long term.
Well, I look at it a little differently. We had a lot of success the last 2 years, and we're first place in the league at Thanksgiving the last 2 years. We never achieved anything we wanted to. Right now, we're not happy. Nobody's happy with what's going on, but we will get out of it, and we will be better, and hopefully it creates a better result come playoff time.
They're in last place. Does he realize they're in last place? He's talking, basically, to sum that up, it's, hey, we got off to good starts, and we were at the top of the standings at Thanksgiving the last 2 years, and it meant nothing. So this also means nothing. That is not how that works.
Not in that business.
No, you don't just go from being last place at Thanksgiving to being a team that has success in the playoffs. If you think this is somehow going to serve your team well in the long run in the playoffs, I would say in response to that, you're not making the playoffs. What are you talking about? You want to use your collapse 2 years ago as part of the rationale as to why this team would be good in the long run? It's just delusional. That was a delusional comment. Dude, you're in last place. You're about to lose your job. You're talking about the last 2 years, and now your regular season, it meant nothing. Being a good team, getting out to a good start,
that's deflecting.
That means nothing.
That's deflecting.
It is. It's deflecting.
That's total deflecting.
And it's delusional, and it's silly. It's a real silly comment.
You've dug a massive hole. Now the question is, do you allow them to keep digging it? Like that's the problem you're facing here.
You can't.
Because it's one thing to make a move and pop your coach mid-season. When's the last time one's been popped this early? Like that's what I'm saying. Like you're gonna wait till it's like you already said they're not going to playoffs. All for naught. We're gonna wait another month and a half. You gonna do it in January?
No.
This is gonna accelerate the process. This gets them thinking about doing things. Because now our head coach is just trying to deflect there.
In the last 5 seasons, 25 head coaches have been fired in the NHL regular season. So about 5, on average, 5 guys a year get popped in season in the NHL. It's a pretty high rate. Higher than other sports.
Yeah, it's the only sport. Yeah.
We say it all the time, like, NHL coaches, disposable. They fire him, drop of a hat. And it's true. Over the last 5 years, before this season, the NFL, over those same 5 seasons, had 13 in that same period of time. And you'd think, wow, the NFL, guys are always getting fired in season. We've had, who's been fired so far this season? Robert Saleh.
Yeah.
He's been canned. There's one. There's no other one, right?
No,
that's it for now.
That's it for now. Saleh so far.
That was unusual.
But it happens. Right. And there will be more in the coming, 6 weeks or so. Someone else will get fired. Yeah. The NBA had 10 in that period of time, and Major League Baseball had 9. That was as of March, the end of, trending at the end of the season last year in the NHL. ESPN Stats and Info had that. So it tells you, by a wide margin, the NHL dumps coaches in season, and I think the Bruins are about to dump theirs, and I think this is the week. I don't think he makes it out of the week.
Wow. So I'm not going to argue that, but how much do you actually put on Montgomery for all of this? I don't think he was set up for success by this organization for this season. I'm sorry, I just don't.
I put some of it on him.
Some for sure.
This team, as I said,
he switches lines more than anybody.
He makes a ton of changes, right? And so he does not give lines enough time to develop. He's too quick to make changes. We've seen him make these panic moves in the playoffs multiple times now.
Yep.
Okay? He's a panicky type of coach. And I do think that when your team has its head up its collective ass and they are not performing, this team is better than this.
No question.
Yes. Okay?
No question.
We all know that. And you can't get them going and you can't get them motivated, and your message is falling flat and is not being received, and you are literally pushing and shoving your team captain on the bench, and he doesn't even look at you not because he's upset, because he's just, it looks like a guy who doesn't even care about what's happening when that message is coming from that individual. Yeah, I do put some of it on him. You want to do the blame pie? 20%? 15, 20%? We'll give him a fifth. Is that okay?
He deserves blame for what's happening right now. But my point is, putting him in the situation he's in, I think, has led to a lot of this. Having a panicky guy come into this season as a lame duck head coach, put some pressure on this guy, and on top of it, you now have a team that's looking at him going, man, the organization doesn't really even believe in you because they haven't given you an extension yet. And it's really hard to get your message across as a coach and get buy-in from an organization if those players are looking at you going, man, you might not even be here. So why are we listening to you? And I think he is the victim of some of that as well. He has not been put in a position to succeed by this organization, and it has snowballed now to a point where, I don't think they're going to have a choice. They're going to have to move on from him. But that position he's been put in, Don Sweeney, Cam Neely, they deserve some of that blame as well. I'm sorry, they do.
Yeah. But it all falls on one guy.
It does. He's going to be the
as much as you want to cut it 20%.
That. Yes.
It's really like 95 or 98.5 for him. Yeah.
I love it.
Because you're not moving your GM, you're not moving your president, your team captain,
he's the
your
fault.
goalie, you're signed your guys, you got high priced guys. They should be a playoff team. Period.
And they're not even close to that right now.
The message is not landing. It's clear.
Yeah. I mean, looking at, Fluto Shinzawa today, Jim Montgomery might be a little upset that his extension did not get done. That the extension is not there because he just drops in this line, reading from the end of Fluto at The Athletic, which talks about a bunch of different things, about Lindholm, about their top line, about David Pastrnak not performing up to what he is. And the last 3 lines of the story are, move it, Montgomery yelled during one drill, move the effing puck. And then he writes, Montgomery is in the last season of a 3-year deal. He remains without an extension. It's just one reason he's dissatisfied. So that doesn't feel like an opinion. That feels like he knows and has spoken to the coach for a piece here. And the coach is not thrilled with the fact that he does not have an extension. And it's for all those reasons you just gave, Tim.
Yeah, an extension works both ways, too, though. Like, he's got to be able to come to the dollar factor to where, okay, we could get something done.
So I told you my theory on this.
Okay, I know.
They lowballed him because they don't want to extend him. And he knows it.
Yep.
And he's not going to accept a bad offer because they really don't truly want him back.
Right.
And everything we heard from Don Sweeney might be a stretch of the truth. He might be stretching a little bit there. Yeah, we want him here. We made him an offer. Well, what was the offer? It included a 3% cost of living increase. Because my
heard of those
assumption.
before.
Okay, Calvin Ridley contract.
I'm sorry to go late here, Milliken. My assumption here is that Jim Montgomery, when he came to the Bruins, was being given a second chance in his coaching career. And there are a lot of teams that would not hire Jim Montgomery, that wouldn't consider it and wouldn't bring him in and wouldn't hire him for how it ended in Dallas. The Bruins gave him a chance, gave him a shot. And my assumption about that deal, the contract he signed, is that it was a prove-it type of contract. That the money could not have been high-end coaching dollars for Jim Montgomery. But he was in a position where he had to take it because he wants to be a head coach. And my guess is the second contract, because of the low dollar figure on the first one, is not commensurate with what an NHL head coach is getting, that it's a low-ball offer, and he's rejecting that offer because he knows what they're doing to him. And my feeling is they would do that because they actually want him, not because they don't want him here, they wanted him to go out and prove it this year with this team. And now it's gone the way that it's gone. And my guess is, had this team gotten off to a good start, that offer would have increased significantly and they would have extended him.
Yeah.
But this team is off to a wretched start. So this was going to go one of two ways for Jim Montgomery. The offer was going to get a lot better and he was going to get extended because the team played well, or the offer was going to disappear and he's going to get fired because the team's a train wreck. I mean, that's really that's the fork in the road.
Yep.
And unfortunately, he took a left turn here and the team stinks. And they're not playing up to what they are. And I think it's going to cost him his job in a short period of time.
Wow.
I look at my watch as in this could happen today.
I mean,
It could.
I do too. You keep looking at Twitter too. Like, Ty tweeted again, like waiting for something to pop.
I mean, it was that type of performance last night.
Yeah.
That was
That'll
brutal.
put you on notice.
Yep.
So that's the Bruins update. Man, oh man. If you got thoughts on the Breeze, we are open to hear them because I don't know how you fix it with Jim Montgomery. Let me ask you this, McCone, quickly. Can they fix their problems by way of Jim Montgomery's coaching and messaging and firing his team up?
No, I don't think so.
Could they potentially do it with another guy in charge?
Yes.
And that's why they're going to do what they're going to do. Not because they know it'll fix it, but they've got to try.